Let's take a look at a graph of how hard a CPU is working as it renders a video file. What we're about to see is a dual-core CPU rendering a video file. What actually happens during transcoding or rendering is that the operating system breaks up the file into what are called threads and then feeds those threads into the CPU. Now, this particular CPU has what Intel calls hyperthreading. This is very simple to understand. It means that each processor or core is able to process two threads simultaneously. And since this particular CPU has two physical cores, and each core can process two threads simultaneously, we have 2 times 2, or 4 threads being processed. And this is what these 4 graphs here show. Thread 1, thread 2, thread 3, thread 4. And here we see how hard a CPU and all those cores are working as it renders a video. Now you can see that each core or processor is transcoding the file, and that it's working at pretty close to 100%, or flat out to render this file. So obviously, the more cores that are available, the faster the rendering will take place. And rendering in general is an example of a highly multi-threaded application. This means the application can take full advantage of the multiple cores available. Now, all of this refers specifically to video editing programs which use the CPU to carry out the rendering. This includes programs like Adobe Premiere Elements and EDIUS. For programs like these, the number of cores available is more important than the speed at which they run. However, for programs that use the video card to render video files, like Adobe Premiere Pro and Cyberlink PowerDirector, the more powerful the video card, the faster the video files will be rendered. So, for these programs, the speed of the CPU is more important than the number of cores available, because other functions associated with video editing, such as adding After Effects and color corrections, are not highly multi-threaded. So in this case, the speed of the CPU is more important than the number of cores available. Now, to take a look at how quickly different CPUs render the same video, take a look at episode 4.